right, welcome back, NNP fam. Fired up to be here. Happy Friday to those that are listening here before the weekend. We got a great weekend of lacrosse. I'm going to change things up a little bit this week. Obviously, in the back end of the week, not really much reason to go back and sort of recap the weekend with a game of the week, even though NNP was boots on the ground at Harvard Cuse. So we're going to rip through. We got helmet stickers. We got Headman. We got the gambling corner. We got all the other good stuff. So fired up to rip through it with you here. But no Coach Emmer tonight, but we got something better. You heard that right, Coach Emmer. We got Coach Corey Bolkin back on the mic with NMP. Coach Bolkin, how we doing, man?
Oh, we are cruising. We are through Thursday and excited for the weekend.
Oh, see, there's a Tom, Nick Moeller. Shout out Nick Moeller, BU Tom, who used to call Thursday Friday Junior. Every Thursday practice. Coach, happy Friday Junior, which is a dope little mantra, I think. But all right, locker room talk. I got two things I want to touch on. First, USA Hockey bringing home the gold, both men's and women's. I know you and I are both super proud of both the men's and the women's programs. Unbelievable effort by both of them to bring it home. I love to see the Brett Dobson tweet of "I hate Jack Hughes. First he steal Tate McRae from us, and now this ... Just good banter there from a true Canadian. But where'd you watch the game on Sunday morning?
So my old man was in town, came down from Cuse, and he came over. My sister lives down the street from me. He came over. He was staying there, and then we watched that, and then he hit the road. So we were all excited to do that together. My boys have never really tuned into a hockey game yet, but they were all about it because they're early in the morning. So it was pretty cool. So.
Oh yeah, Sunday morning, 8:10. The boys are probably all. That's like normal for them to be ripping and having the blood flowing.
Yeah. So that, and actually, when the women won it, it was like afternoon. I only had one of them home from school, and I was watching it. And he actually kind of figured out what was going on, and he's like, he started to learn what the Olympics are. So it was really cool. He was like. So they win a gold medal, and I was like, yeah, dude, this is the coolest thing ever. So, and it was such a cool comeback that they made. It was, after blowing everybody out of the water in that tournament. So
unreal.
Yep.
The Olympics itself were really cool. My next locker room talk, let's keep it moving here. This is self-serving, but your boy's your boy's been good on his New Year's Eve or New Year's resolution. All right. 3 times in the gym a week, but I need a little extra boost. I'm looking into some creatine. I'm looking into something else. I don't know if you're an all natural guy, but I need something to push me over the edge a little bit here. Keep things burning a little bit faster than they are. I don't know if you've got anything, but I'm throwing that out to the listeners. I'm looking for a good creatine brand. I'm looking for any of this other stuff that isn't just absolute junk science to keep the spare tire on the way, see if we can keep fighting that. So maybe I'll throw that to you, but that's more also for the listeners. If we got any recs.
All things supplements, I refer to my encyclopedia, which is the Face Off Academy group chat. So shout out to Greg and Jerry and all those other guys. They are by far way more invested in all that. That group chat is an encyclopedia of that stuff.
All right, sounds like I got to at Jerry Raganese is what it sounds like.
There you go.
All right.
Jerry's a great resource. He'd be happy to help.
All right. Anything else locker room talk that you want to jump into?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Awesome.
Pretty good.
All right. Well, quick look back. All right. I want to get into helmet stickers here, some stick taps, everybody around the league this weekend. But before we do that, gun to your head, Coach Bolkin, who are you projecting to win the Big Ten this year, right now?
Oh, man. I hate to say. Hopkins has played the toughest schedule and has come out on top, I think. They had the best record, probably, right? No, Ohio State's undefeated. Rutgers
Correct.
lost.
Yes, Rutgers is 4-1.
4-1. I don't know. I think it's like a three-way race right now in my mind. It's Ohio State, Hopkins, and Rutgers.
Wow.
I don't know. Rutgers is interesting. Credilla is really good. They're just that team. I don't think like anybody can really pin down like year to year. Like they change it up. They're always a little bit different. They play hard. I don't know. They're kind of always like the wild card in my mind in the Big Ten. So they got a good goalie. Stoller's a really good goalie.
Truth. Facts.
Might be, again, like obviously there's Fyock out at Ohio State. Jay's got a good one now, the young buck. He's an upstate boy, right?
He is a New Hartford High School. He's the second best goaltender to ever come out of New Hartford High School.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's nice. Yeah. I've heard of a few. That's right. Nice. That's a big helmet to fill. But
true.
Yeah. No, I think those would be. It might be. I think Hopkins offensively is a little predictable. Is getting more predictable by the game. I think Collison's awesome. I just don't know how hey, I need to win a matchup here outside of him. I don't know who else is doing it.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. It was like you need Charlie Eiler at attack to do it because it ain't going to be Chavette, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Eiler's the righty. Who's the third one that they've got playing attack? I forget off the top of my head right now. But
yeah.
But either way, like you're right. They're not running by anybody. Eiler is the guy, which is crazy. Yeah, Ohio State 5-0. Stiffest competition they've played is probably their most recent one, and that is High Point. They obviously will look at it and Headman. We'll cover it in Headman, but they got the Hoyas they're going to the Hoyas this weekend. I'm surprised by your Hopkins pick. I just don't know where they scored goals, but no Maryland. You're done on Maryland, and I guess to follow up, done on Maryland. And is the Big Ten down this year, or is everyone else elevated their game?
I like to think everybody's elevated, but no, I don't know that you can ever totally be out on Maryland because of their coaching staff, and they still have a ton of talent. It's also one of those things too. I saw a tweet that before this year, Pills was 16-0 against Princeton and Cuse since he got to Maryland or something like that. And some guy was talking about how he should maybe they make a change. And my thing is, I don't know that anybody just says, let's let it rip from game one and we're going to play everybody off the bat than John Tillman. So, you give the Princeton and, some of these Ivies that have slow starts, even Cornell won their first game by a goal against Albany. Not that they're a bad team by any means, but they come out of the gates a little slower. We give them a little bit more leeway. Maybe it's just one of those years that they find an identity a little bit later, which is normal. It happens, it's
totally,
we have not come to expect it from, Maryland, but, maybe they got some young guys that are still finding their way, which is pretty normal,
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't get any easier for him. Till's certainly loaded up the schedule like he does every year. So, certainly going to keep eyes on that, but all right. Helmet stickers. My first one, I'm going Lehigh's Richard Checo. The LSM has become the all-time leader in career caused turnovers. I'm sure those of you who follow the game have heard this. The senior from Oakton, Virginia, has amassed a staggering 162 caused turnovers in 50 games played. And shockingly, he had the most caused turnovers in his freshman year at 54. He's already at 15 his senior year here and is only 4 games in. I'm having a hard time with this one. Like, I want to give him his kudos. That's why I'm giving him a helmet sticker. And I don't want to take anything away from, hey, workshop this with me, Mr. Echo. Checo takeaway. Okay, we'll leave that one. But do you think his numbers are inflated whatsoever?
I think the natural thought is yes. I think once you start to show like a knack for certain things, your SID gets friendly to the idea that you might be the reason why things happened.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're a goalie that makes a save or you maybe get a piece of that one, you know?
Yep.
Face-off guys and ground balls, assists, phantom assists, all that stuff.
Yep.
I think it's always a possibility that an SID gets a little overzealous and gets a little loose with, how things get recorded. But again, I've watched that kid play. Like he is he's the closest version to a Brian Carolinus we've seen since then.
Wow.
With the stick work, he can put it on the deck. He's a little bit the boogeyman, like the phantom checks, guys start seeing him approaching and they're just like, nope, not this one. It's not going to be me. And then all of a sudden the ball's on the ground. The guy didn't even do anything yet. So, that's like, he's the closest to BK I've seen in a long time. Maybe what's his name? Pisano was a little bit that way too.
Sure.
He had all the checks in the bag.
Sure. Wow. All right. High praise for Richard Checo, but helmet sticker nonetheless. I'm with you. I think it's inflated a touch, but certainly wish him the best of luck. And he's playing for a hell of a defensive coordinator and head coach down there in the Lehigh Valley, and has learned from one of the best. So awesome to see Coach Scudder have a guy to be that disruptive. Next helmet sticker. I got a couple of goalies that I want to give it to, and obviously with this end being NNP, Villanova's goalie Dennis Fargione assisted on the game-tying goal to make it 7-7 against Rutgers early in the fourth quarter this past weekend. Wildcats unfortunately went on to lose 8-7, but I'm not sure what we want Fargione to do. He's got to score goals and keep the rock out of the net. It's a lot to ask, but a sophomore from Garden City, he rocks number 99. I've made my opinion clear on number 00 for a lacrosse player. I'm curious your thoughts on number 99 for a lacrosse player.
I struggle with anybody wearing 99 as a hockey fan,
Yep, agreed.
So, yeah, it's just not a number I think you touch. It's across all sports. You know what I mean?
Agreed. I was down at the Stadium Series in Tampa, and some kid was wearing his beer league hockey jersey with the number 99 on it with his own last name, and I was like, bro, that's an absolute no.
Nice jersey, dickhead. Yeah. No, that's not the one. No, I don't know. I thought I was being funny when playing travel hockey one year and I wore 98, and no.
That ain't it.
No.
All right, I got another from one goalie to another. I'm giving a helmet sticker to Connor Foley, goalie for the Brown Bears. Saturday overtime win over their in-state rival Providence 8-7. Foley posted a 14-save effort. And then on Wednesday, he posted 16 saves in a losing effort when UMass came to town. So for those of you keeping track, that's 30 stops in 2 games. But what I found interesting, all right, both dudes who shook Connor Foley's hand in the pregame starting lineups raised their level because they knew what Connor was capable of. All right, Providence's Cam Starrett had 18 stops in the losing effort, and then UMass's Owen Salinger had 23 in the 11-8 win over Brown in Providence. Both goalies are somewhat to blame for the under hitting in that Brown UMass game, with 39 combined saves between the two of them, 23 and 16. But I'll never call out a goalie for doing his job, when in reality it was the Brown Bears going 0 for 5 on the extra man that killed the over in their chances of winning. But certainly some great goaltending out of Connor Foley and both those guys. Providence's Cam Starrett, who Providence has been keeping the ball out of the net, and Salinger deserves a helmet sticker for 23 stops as well. But last goalie I want to give a helmet sticker to, Sean Byrne of the Army Black Knights. He wore number 82 last weekend. Kevin Brown of Inside Lacrosse reported that he wore it to honor Turner Cockrell, the OG number 82, who played football and lacrosse at Burns High School, Alatoona in Atlanta. And Turner passed away from cancer in 2018. Now his best friend, Danny Tesler, an All-American faceoff man at Altoona, wears number 82 for the Cleveland State Vikings, and himself is actually currently battling brain cancer. The official Cleveland State Vikings men's lacrosse account tweeted, "The number represents everything Turner was about when you talk to Danny: selflessness, leadership, and perseverance. Danny passed the number on to his brother Shane, who then passed it on to a current member of the team who possessed all the same qualities. It's a tremendous honor to wear number 82 in our program, that program being Cleveland State." Hell of a move by Sean Byrne. Hell of a move by Cleveland State. I know from talking to Coach Germ, they're looking forward to, having Danny back to lead them out of the tunnel at least once this season. So I'm looking forward to that. Sports are just...
Did you ever see Tesler play live?
I never did.
Did you ever coach against him?
I did not.
See, that kid, they're at Ohio State, they hung in for a half, and that kid was really good. He's a little guy, but he's got all the get up and go you could ask for, and he did everything for him. He was a really fun player to watch.
Yeah,
Tough kid.
I really hope he can lead the Vikes out of the tunnel one last time here. I got one more helmet sticker, but I want to kick it to you, Coach Bolkin. You got any helmet stickers from last weekend?
I got one for sure. UMBC going through a pretty big shakeup over this past, fall into this season. A lot of uncertainty, tough start. I think it's a tough thing to go through, whatever it is they have. Say what you want. We're not going to talk about any of that. But it's easy to pack it in after, dropping 2 to start the year. I got to be honest, I didn't expect much from them after hearing everything that's gone on and not having a full coaching staff, and hearing that some guys kind of sat out just to save some eligibility, which can't blame them. So I think from how they look organizationally and everything, I think it's way better than I would have expected. So kudos to the coaching staff. And then they found a way to go down to Emmitsburg and get a win. It was not a pretty one. It was 2-1 going into the fourth quarter. And they scored 6 goals in the fourth quarter. Kid made ESPN top plays, So I gotta give him credit, because it's got to be tough right now. And those kids are learning on the fly. They're taking a lot of lumps. So good. I think that whole team deserves some props for figuring it out and, finding a bright spot there.
Totally. Yeah. Ryan D'Amato, a 4 spot on Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever it was.
Yep.
Cool. My next helmet sticker, and actually my last, I'd be labeled a hater like Terry Foy if I didn't give Harvard their flowers. Coach Byrne and Coach Hutch led the Crimson to the program's first win over a number 1 ranked team in program history. That's a hell of an accomplishment given the history of Harvard lacrosse, both in length and prestige. I'm obviously giving them flowers. I know Coach Emmer can't be here with us tonight, but I know he's got his own feelings on the way that Syracuse played on the road over the weekend. But we'll let him speak his own words. I think for me, helmet stickers to them, getting a huge win. Syracuse is a good team, great win. Harvard, a great team. I'm all set with this talk of, Cuse loses to Harvard and burn it all down. Leave Odirna and March in Alston. Like, I'm all set with that talk. Harvard's good. Hell of a team. Super athletic and fast. Like, fast in space. And I mean, finally, something good happens to those guys that get to go to Harvard. I know the world's stacked against them, so finally something good happened for those kids. But
yeah, right.
I don't know. What's your takeaway from this Cuse Harvard result?
Oh, man, you know what? Like, Cuse playing outside in February they need to do that. You can't hide in the dome forever. And that was a good test. Like, back in the day, like, Cuse wouldn't leave the dome until they absolutely had to, and for them to schedule a game that they lost the year before outside in February, that's what you need to do. Like, that's why, like, I respect Tills, and you can never count them out, because he's just going to push his kids through the meat grinder, and they'll come out the other side. They know that at the end of the day, like, even if they drop every out of conference game, you win the Big Ten, you're probably going to the tournament. So it doesn't. I for one am glad that Cuse has gone away a little bit from the cupcakes at home in the dome, so they can stay nice and warm and protected. Like, I don't think that serves anybody. I think, like, everybody liked the Olympics because it's best on best, and that's what people want to see. And that's, again, like, testing yourself a little bit early and being in a ball game and a dogfight, that's only going to make Cuse better.
Totally. I don't disagree. And it doesn't matter who's number one on February 21st or 24th, whatever Monday was. It matters in May. And I think it's a good data point for both teams. Like, Harvard can walk away from it and say, we can beat anybody in the country. And Cuse walks away from it and says, all right, we got to be better in those big spots on the road or at a neutral site. Like, we got to be better, and they'll both learn from it, which I think is cool. So
I don't think that game keeps any, either one of them loses that game. That's not going to be the reason if they're on the bubble in May, they don't get in. You know what I mean? Like, They're both going to have good seasons.
Right. One honorary helmet sticker I want to give to the Stick Talk dudes. Another podcast, another lacrosse podcast. I don't know if you've listened to them. The Stick Talk guys, they had a epic episode. Brian Nozelax on Twitter was on fire this past weekend, talking about his roots in East Syracuse, but absolutely on fire. So that's my last helmet sticker. You got another one, or are you good?
Nope.
All right, let's headman it. Get the ball forward. Ball's made of speed. Headman it segment where we look ahead to games this weekend. All right. And I think this is where we can add a ton of value to your lacrosse watching this weekend. Friday games, we got happy hour. New York City is not ready for the Ivy League lacrosse happy hour. All right. I was talking to an Ivy Leaguer who lives in New York City, and this is how you know that Ivy Leaguers are book smart, not always street smart. He goes, yeah, we'll be watching at Galway Hooker tomorrow. Let everybody know. I'm like, okay. Am I gonna? You gonna get me canceled for saying hooker on the radio waves? I do a quick Google. Turns out it's called Galway Hooker Irish Pub. So even the Ivy Leaguers are having a hard time, and that just that makes the rest of us feel good. But obviously they're going there for the Syracuse at Princeton 4 p.m. game, and then the UNC at UPenn 5 p.m. game. I'll be interested to see if Syracuse goes back to their all-navy jerseys. Princeton probably going to go to their whites. The first thing about this game that jumps off the page to me, homecoming for Pat March. People forget that Pat March, the offensive coordinator for the Cuse, was with Coach Madelon in Princeton and recruited Owen Hiltz to go to Princeton prior to leaving for Syracuse. And Pat March's fingerprints are all over that Princeton program. So people forget that part. But homecoming for Coach March. Corey, when you think of Syracuse Princeton, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh man, I remember going to watch Princeton in the Dome, as a kid.
Hell yeah.
I mean, remember watching Ryan Boyle and Strebel and just electric offense.
And that's what I thought you were going to say. Both teams touted for their offensive firepower. But both defensive coordinators, Coach Hirsch and Coach O'Dearna, are both super respectable dudes and lead the league in sort of being the young and up-and-coming defensive coordinators. I personally think Cuse defense has the advantage after seeing what happened to Princeton week one. Now, it was week one. All right, and they got to figure their stuff out, but I'm not sure what you've seen since kind of that week one and the Maryland game, if that changed your opinion at all.
Didn't get to watch that one. Obviously, beating Maryland is beating Maryland. Doesn't matter if they're up or down, So, I don't know. Again, like you said, Coach O and Coach Hirsch are awesome. Princeton seems to, my hope is that at the first sign of any sort of adversity, we don't switch right into like any sort of zone defense, because I feel like that's their crutch a little. I don't know if, a zone offense, for any amount of a game, without, if every possession we're transitioning down and we're subbing on and we know we're going to play zone offense. If I'm, Cuse and Joey Spolina and Finn Thompson, who loves to get loose inside, like that could be a long day. So that's my only hope, that we don't see that, revert back to that.
Totally. I guess going to the offensive side, I'm ranking that a push. I think both offenses are good. You giving anybody an edge?
Tough to say, I mean, Princeton's attack's really fun to watch. They are, they've got two guys that can beat their man almost every time, and yeah,
although,
I feel
you say that Schaller, I know Schaller's the ultimate eraser, but he erased Kabiri.
No, he did.
Kabiri had one helper, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's all he had this past week.
Was that all it was? See, again, I didn't watch that game, so I didn't really know.
So. But, I mean, I agree with you. Palumbo and Kabiri. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no. And then Burns, too,
totally.
Not much of a – I think he's better off swinging it to him and him going quick. But, I mean, Kabiri is every bit as good and productive as any guy you line up from the Syracuse attack, in my opinion.
Totally. Yeah, Kabiri 1 assist on 1 shot. I mean, I think that just speaks to how good Schaller is. But personally, I'm huge on Riley Figueres. Could Riley Figueres put up a similar matchup to Kabiri? I don't know. We'll see. But I think the offenses are a push. Personally, I mean, you could probably give one the advantage, but I think this one's going to be fun for me, and this is why I'm glad you're on here. The face-off X, Mullen versus McMeekin. It's going to be all time. Just two giant human beings that are super quick and athletic. I'm curious your thoughts.
McMeekin has been streaky. Like, historically, he's a little streaky. Feel like he started season slow, and then by the end of the year, he figure something out. Casey Dowd, does a good job at Princeton with those guys. Obviously, Johnny Mullen is a monster. I don't know that anybody talks to that kid. He just goes over in the corner in the dome and does his work, and probably eats a couple 5-pound dumbbells or whatever. But he's about no frills. And then McMeekin, I think he's got a really light touch comparatively, likes to get in and out. I think when he's taking care of the ball a little bit better, trying to make sure that he secures the rock a little bit better in the back of his stick. I think that's when he kind of turns it on. But again, two dudes that are extra athletic, big downhill runners. I hope it's a battle. McMeekin, again, I didn't watch that Maryland game, but I imagine he did all right. But he's earlier in the seasons and in the last couple of years, I feel like he's been oh man, not his best. And then the next thing you know, he's ripping some guy's face off, so for an entire game. So, what is he, a junior or a senior? He might be a senior now.
Yeah, he's got to be a senior. But to be honest with you, he got beat up decently against Maryland. He went 10 for 25, took all but 4 of them.
There you go.
Henry Dodge went 8 for 14. And Jonah Carrier got him for 10 for 15. So
upstater.
Oh yeah, buddy. So certainly a better day for the Terps there at the X. He is just a physical specimen, McMeekin is. And if he is able to get out the front door, his shooting ability will scare anybody. I know Princeton goes that flat break, which is tough to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get anything out the front door, or just on a scramble, pick up a tough ground ball. So.
Yep.
And then I think special teams is a wash. Princeton's 1 for 1. They've only had 1 penalty in 2 games, which is crazy. They've held opponents 1 for 3. Although I will say, when I say wash, I've been disappointed with Syracuse's extra man unit. They're 6 for 14 on the year at 43%. With that type of unit, I feel like you got to be better. But the Junkyard Dogs, Coach O'Dearna's Junkyard Dogs, the man down unit, holding opponents 1 for 9, which you love to see. So, going to be a hell of a Friday night 4 p.m. game. Moving right on to the 5 p.m. Okay, the 5 p.m. You're going to get UNC at UPenn. 5 o'clock, historic Franklin Field. I think the only question is, which North Carolina are we going to get? Jacksonville or Hopkins? And is the number 1 ranking going to be too much for them to shoulder?
Yeah, it seems to be kind of hot potato right now with that, right? I don't know. I think they might have found something against Hopkins. I hope. They're really fun to watch too. Another really good attack unit. That freshman midfield line still finding their way. I think they are not hiding them. They keep giving them burn, and that's a good thing early on. But the secret to that is, where they scale them back in order to, what games are they going to be all right, man, we've given you your runs. Where do they protect them a little bit? Maybe don't play them as much to make sure that, they don't waste opportunities, if they're not producing enough. That's my biggest thing. They can win face-off. Brady Wambach's a monster. Defensively, I think they're solid too. So it's an interesting group. It's just Carolina in general sometimes, you never really know why they are the way that they are. There's no reason for them not to be good all the time.
Totally. Yeah. Shout out that rookie line, Luke Bear, Anthony Rayau, and Gary Merrill. Certainly something to keep an eye on there. But this isn't a fair comparison, but is UPenn 2 goals better than Jacksonville?
I don't know. Dude, Jacksonville's really good.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Is there a better 2-loss team in the country than Jacksonville right now?
Nope.
Not a chance.
Fighting Coach Brzezinski's, man. And also, if I haven't made it clear, I'm in the I'm in the camp that North Carolina hasn't done enough to be a number one seed. Game 3 for UPenn will be a good test for the Tar Heels this weekend, Friday night, and really neat for us to get some happy hour lacrosse. I don't know. And Taylor Ray finding his way, right? Like he's walked into this, and here he is coaching his squad to in the against the ACC. Like they're finding their way, doing a little 10-man stuff and playing his style. They're going to continue to figure it out. So I think this will be a big one. Plus, with both teams having to play 2 games this weekend, Memorial Day weekend style, it'll be really, really fun to see. I think we got 2 great ones on Friday night.
Yeah. No, I mean, what can you say? Still learning these guys' names, probably, right? So, T-Ray's the man. And again, like him and Restivo having that continuity too. Like, who did they play just the other day? Was it, they beat somebody?
Albany.
I was watching a little bit of it.
Albany?
Who was it? It was, yeah. It was a little back and forth. And then I think they kind of pulled away at the end, right? Like, they started to gel a little bit, what's his name? Leo Hoffman. That kid is nobody's giving greater effort running in the middle of the field than that kid,
I love it. Yeah, no, it'll be cool. The Albany was the midweek game that I think everybody had eyes on, and then they beat up Delaware pretty good this weekend at home on Franklin Field. So they got number 1 North Carolina. I guess somebody's got them. Coaches polls got them number 2. Got North Carolina number 2. So a big test on Friday night. Looking ahead to Saturday, you got Patriot League opening up conference play this weekend. I just want to give that league a shout out because of my ties, but the 12 o'clock slate is diabolical. It's disappointing that we can't spread these games out more, but I understand why. Just all of the logistics around it. But I want to quickly touch on Cleveland State at Canisius, 12 o'clock Vikings traveling to Buffalo, taking on the Griffins. In their last 2, the Vikings have outplayed both of in their last 2, the Vikes are 0-2, but I think they outplayed Bellarmine. They outshot them 44-28, 27-19 on goal. They were +5 in the turnover battle. They held Bellarmine to 66% clearing, while they cleared at 87%. They dominated the faceoff X. They won the special teams battle. They were 2 for 2. They held the Knights to 1 for 3. Unfortunately, the only stat that matters is the scoreboard, and Bellarmine found a way to get an edge there, and I think probably it was because of their goaltending, having 20. But that was the difference for the Knights. And then last week, the Vikings hung tough against Marquette in their home opener, ultimately losing 9-7, but had a 3-1 lead at halftime, and they were leading 5-4 after 3. Marquette, Big East, like that's a hell of a battle, and I know they got to travel to Buffalo, which is a awful trip to take, but I'm pulling for the Vikes to get one in the win column, and I think they can. The trend says they can. All those stats say they can. Canisius is coming off a come-from-behind win against your Dolphins. Where will their heads be at? Do you think this could be the spot where the Vikes get one? Will it be a letdown spot for Canisius? What's your take here?
I think Coach Cherm's going to have them ready.
I love it.
There's, I don't know that I've ever seen Coach Cherman get too excited about anything, positively or negatively. So that guy's just about as even keel as it gets, and that's why we love him. So I don't know. I think they're going to be just fine, and they'll be ready to play Canisius. And I'm sure, they're probably looking at it like we're going to get one, we have a chance to win this, and there's no reason they shouldn't feel that way. That's going to, Canisius found a way to get a win. They've been in some tight ones too. So they probably feel the exact same way. So it should be a pretty good ball game.
Totally. Moving on to some of the other 12 o'clock slate games. There's 3 absolutely premier ones. Notre Dame at Maryland. This goes back to my Big Ten comment. Is the Big Ten down? Is everyone else up? Where's Maryland stand? This is me having a critical eye, but the Terps have a problem in the hoop. Ruppel hasn't been what McNaney was. I don't think anybody wanted him to be McNaney. I don't think he could be McNaney, but he has not performed well, and that problem for them because of the way that they play and the schedule that they play can be compared to wearing white shorts and having diarrhea, especially against a team like Notre Dame. Like, it's just bad news bears. So I've got eyes on that 12 o'clock game. Can Notre Dame continue to score the rock, even though we didn't actually get to see them do it this past weekend?
Yeah. I can't wait for the public school street fight, Albany UMass. It is one of the testiest games every time you flip it on. Like, I remember watching film on it because we're getting ready to play probably Albany or maybe UMass one year, and just there's flags all over the field, and it just coaching staffs are screaming at each other. It is one of those games, like, those schools don't like each other, and they are both like super tough. That's how they play. It's going to be a fast, physical one. So that's going to be hard for me not to want to watch that one, really, because there will probably be a highlight from it from after the whistle somewhere.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think the public school battle is such a cool thing. We'll hit on that at the end. But you also got Ohio State, Georgetown. Ohio State, we already talked about it, coming to D.C., heavyweight bout. I think we'll talk a little bit about it as we get into the gambling corner of that game a little bit. But and then the last one at 12 for me, Cornell versus Richmond. Another great test for Richmond. They're not sneaking up on anyone anymore. After pretty much a walkthrough against my Statesman on Tuesday, the Big Red are going to welcome a very different A10 opponent to Ithaca and the Spiders. So, pick your poison for that hour. I'm sure there's some people that are going to pick whichever one's on ESPN Plus because they already pay for it. But if you pay for Big Ten, I'd get eyes on that Maryland Notre Dame game. I think that one's going to be great. Yeah. And then you look at 1 o'clock. I'm shouting out Nova, Delaware, always feisty, cats on hens. Obviously, the geography adds a little bit of a rivalry there, and I'm calling this one the Rocky chasing a chicken GIF game. Certain staff member for the Blue Hens uses that GIF of Rocky chasing a chicken in the recruiting game. So I could see that being flipped on them if the Cats were to come out on top. My question for you, where's your trust in Delaware as of right now? Obviously, almost got shut out by Drexel. Where's your trust in them?
I mean, they're missing Coach Rook, right? Coach Rukowski steps away, but they brought Beta in, right? It's big change. They've lost some heavy hitters over the last couple of years on the offensive side of the ball, especially. It might be one of those scenarios. They're just got some young bucks finding their way. I do know that they have a freshman there that I coached personally, who's pretty close. Like, he's a guy that can draw slides. This kid Matty Jorez from Loyola Blakefield. He hasn't cracked the lineup yet, but I'd like to see him get a chance and try to run by somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I know the Delaware staff's high on him. They have some dudes there. Like, again, it's just figuring out the right puzzle pieces. It's been a little bit of a shocking start, though, and it's obviously not all coaching and like Rook not being there, but that's been one of the most eye-popping starts to the season out of them, right?
Totally.
Not what you come to expect.
No, and speaking of what you can't expect, Yale at Penn State. All right, Penn State Nittany Lions. What team are we gonna get here? Like up, down, left, right. Which Nittany Lions group are we gonna get? And do they finally get to play a home game outdoors this weekend with Yale coming to town? I got to believe this Yale team's trending up as they head into week 3 of their season, just like the other Ivy League teams. But, speaking of Yale and trending up, everybody probably wants to talk about David Anderson or Connor Gately for the Bulldogs and two attackmen that they've got. Gately, by the way, absolutely anti-Steez, but he gave the BU defense headaches all day long. I'm pretty sure Gately's kind of got like the middle bar syndrome hanging on, but he can play. The guy that jumped off the page at me for Yale against BU this past weekend was junior Cole Jackson. He might be the fastest dude in the country this year. Holy cow, can he fly? Matchup nightmare in the midfield. And from what I saw this past weekend against BU, his shot on the run has some serious pop. But yeah, Yale's in an interesting spot. Penn State's in an interesting spot. What are you making of the Nittany Lions at this point?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I feel like they've seen a ton of zone defense in a couple of their games. So they played against that a lot. What game was it that they lost? They lost to Villanova, right?
Villanova was week one.
I just felt like offensively it was, where was who took the reins offensively? It just didn't seem like that. Aquino is kind of the guy, right? He's a midfielder being asked to be like your best attackman. And again, like I get that, like they're gonna win a ton of faceoffs. He's gonna be the point on every fast break. That's huge. Then you got to learn to be like carry the load like offensively and like every 6-on-6 set. And I think he does a lot of damage in like the unsettled and he can hammer man up. Is he going to turn into like a real ball carrying attackman? Who knows, right?
Totally.
It's funny you say that about who was it? The midfielder you liked, the super fast kid from Yale,
Cole Jackson.
Cole Jackson. Penn State might have another kid that I was lucky enough to coach at Severn. He's a redshirt freshman at Penn State. Andrew Beard. That kid is effortless, so fast, like stupid amount of fast, and just turns on a dime. Every time he like tried to change direction, I thought I was just sure his like feet were going to slip out from under him or he's going to blow a knee. It was unbelievable how incredibly athletic he is. And he's getting some burn. He's got to learn how to dodge without just like trying to run straight line speed at everybody. And, I think he started to do that just by watching the runs that he's been getting. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know, like who is the lead dog? Like when you're settled 6-on-6 for Penn State, who's taking the lead here?
Totally. And I think I'm waiting on Kyle Lehman and Luke Wallstrom to take it to another level personally. So keep an eye out for number 4, number 21 for Penn State this weekend. I think that's where Hunter Aquino needs help, right? Like Lehman needs to step up. Wallstrom needs to step up. Hopefully your rookie, Andrew Beard, can come along if you're saying he's athletic as he is, right? Like you're right. I don't think they have an alpha, but when you don't have an alpha, you need complementary scoring, and they certainly haven't gotten that. They also haven't gotten goaltending, but they only haven't gotten goaltending indoors at Haluba Hall. The rookie goaltender, I want to make sure I get his name right here because I butchered it the other day. Preston Hawkins.
Yep.
He's been okay outside of Haluba Hall. Like he's been okay. He hasn't been a total issue, like a total Achilles heel. So I'm happy for the rookie to figure it out.
I feel like some people kind of jumped on that early. Like again, like you can't crush goalies after playing inside, especially first like real game action in his career. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
no, I think that kid will be fine. That he's there for a reason.
I know it's his job, but I would love for some of those people who had poor things to say try to do his job.
Oh, God, no thanks.
Next up, I got Michigan at Denver. I think it's going to be a defensive battle, blow for blow. It's going to be 66 on both ends. Over-unders at 21, and strictly due to the number of possessions in this game, I think that we'll see. I'm leaning under just because both teams are slow you down, set you up, run it, and make it a 6v6 game.
Yep, I get that.
Next one, 3:00. Like we do get some good spacing of games. Hopkins at Virginia. Hopkins seems to be at a tipping point. albeit an early one, and you can always right the ship in the Big Ten of conference play, like you've talked about. But I'd say how this one goes against Virginia is going to be big. Vibes don't seem great on Charles Street. I hate that for the fellas, especially because defensive coordinator Jamison Kester is the man. Everyone wants to talk about how hot Coach Milliman's seat is. I don't know if that's deserved. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. The Hopkins thing is weird. Lacrosse is better when Hopkins is good. Do you put any stock into sort of this Hopkins slowish start?
No. Again, like I think defensively they're good. They've got a young goalie who's really good. Facing off, they're going to struggle. I think their best face-off option, young buck named Joe Hobart. He's a little banged up from what I understand, so that's going to be a wrinkle for them. My thing is offensively, Hunter Chauvet, when he scores 3 goals, the offense is usually doing pretty well. When he doesn't score 3 goals, it's pretty obvious. It's like looks a little slow and disjointed. So that's the challenge in my opinion, And I think like Matt Collison, that kid is awesome. He's great. They need 2 of him though. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah, and certainly people have been able to key in on Collison and key in on Chauvet being mostly an off-ball guy, and hopefully doesn't take disrespect for that. If you're really good at something, you should be really good at it, and being able to stretch the field on that left side is deadly for any defense. But Charlie Eiler and Jimmy Ayers have been picking up the slack on attack. They've done a good job. They just, I don't know. Can they get over the hump a little bit? Can the rookie goalie, like you said, Dash, can he backstop a pretty good unit? I don't know. I mean, but then you get the other side of this one, right? Virginia. Their offense is cooking. They're averaging just over 16.5 goals a game. Now, Richmond held them to 12. So this Hopkins defense will be more of a similar test to that than the Seawolves or the Colgate Red Raiders were, but both Milliman brothers, as much as you want to hate on them, are doing their thing and living up to the hype so far, in my opinion. McCabe leads the team with 10 goals and 12 assists. That's in both categories and points. And then Brendan is right behind him with 7 goals and 8 assists, both through 3 games. Are you buying what the Wahoos are selling offensively?
Offensively, yeah. I mean, they've got dudes that can score. They've got guys that can get to the rack. Balsamo is a great initiating God till he beats his man, and just kind of gets to weird spots on the field. I feel like I saw a clip. He like kind of dodged off the low wing, ran through X, got to the island on the other side, scored a goal. Like he's a ball player. I mean, again, like McCabe is incredibly dynamic. I just don't know. Like they just feel like they haven't like solidified themselves defensively yet, right?
Totally. No, it's been ugly defensively, that's for sure. But you can certainly outscore some people. If you're going to put up 16.5, you can do it.
Hey, like Lars, that's how Lars got where he's gotten to now, right? Like just pedal to the metal. Why not? Like,
sure,
you're not gonna shut people out. So live with it. Try to score one more. That's it.
Sure. And this is bad because I'm NNP, but who's in the hoop for the Wahoos?
Oh man, I don't know the kid's name.
Looks like Kyle Morris. Kyle Morris is back.
There you go. Oh, is he the Air Force kid? No, that's not the Air Force kid, right?
No, Kyle Morris is, I believe, a transfer from Penn, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Cool.
People are probably shouting into their headphones right now that I don't have that on the tip of my tongue. But, yeah, senior at Gilman School. I'm pretty sure he's a transfer. But either way, No, Kyle Morris's been at UVA the whole time. Just a
All right,
Gilman
there you go.
school guy. Didn't play
Apologies to Kyle
freshman
Morris.
year. Played 12 games as a sophomore. Played a bunch last year. Played a little bit last year. 8 appearances.
Okay.
Can be an absolute brick wall at times, says Coach. So,
There you go.
Coach Tiffany. So, yeah. That's tough, though. You know, you've kind of been in and out of the hoop, and then all of a sudden you're just hemorrhaging goals, and it's just not good for your mental game. But
I don't know, man. I feel like you can make one switch at goalie a year. Going flip flopping all year is no good for anybody. So, you got to be sure, and if you make the change, you just got to stick with it. You're playing so many head games, even if you don't mean to. Sometimes,
Totally.
Underrated game of the weekend potential: St. Joe's Duke.
Oh yeah, Sunday. That's where we were going. I love it. Talk to me.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Coach Meehan's meteoric rise after Game 1 in the Dome?
Dude, did I see that? What was it? First 2 ranked wins in a row.
Yes, sir.
I mean, look, they're believing. They're playing hard for him. He knows the buttons to push. He's been there. So, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It could be the angle of the camera on Hawk Field, but those kids look enormous. Like, his kids look huge. But again, Duke has been pretty steady throughout. Like, they're obviously very big, very athletic offensively. They seem to be pretty solid right now. And, is this the Duke February/March stumble? Who knows? But it would not shock me.
Ooh. The February stumble's interesting because it will be March 1st. Did we get a February without a Duke setback? That will be the talk of the town for sure. Obviously, also on Sunday, you've got 2 12 o'clock games. The Duke game, Duke St. Joe's down at Duke Koskinen Stadium. That's at 1 o'clock against St. Joe's, and then 2 12 o'clock games. You got the ACC Ivy League flip. UNC at Princeton, Cuse at UPenn. All right, I think that's enough. Unless you got another game of the weekend.
No.
All right. Let's jump into the gambling corner. Quick look back, the dog of the week last week. We took the Denver Pioneers over Cornell. That was our first miss, so the dog of the week is 2-1. Coach Bulkin, you want to give us your 3 picks for this weekend?
Going Richmond +1.5. Siena Dartmouth over 24.5. Both teams just love to score goals.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Coach Cox. What a job that guy's doing. And then I'm going Yale +2 at Penn State.
Love it. Moving on, Coach Emmer was 1-1-1 last week. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 push. He's got Georgetown -1.5. He believes Coach Bulkin will also be on that side, taking on the Buckeyes. He's got Hopkins UVA over 23.5. And Coach Emmer's last one, he's got the aforementioned Jacksonville Dolphins -3.5. Who is Jacksonville playing?
They are playing.
I didn't listen to the Duval Mission podcast this week, so I'm not up to speed.
I didn't get that push notification.
Oh, High Point.
High Point
at
yeah,
Georgia Southern. That's right, neutral site.
Oh yeah.
So he's taking Jacksonville -3. Rotev was 1-2 last week after going 3-0 the week prior. He is taking Bellarmine. Rotev has come to call Bellarmine Belly, so he's taking Belly -1.5. He's taking Jacksonville at it looks like he got him at -3, and he's also taking Cuse money line. In the crease, Al was 2-1 last week, a bounce back after going 0-3. He's taking Georgetown Hoyas -1.5. He's taking the U Albany Great Danes -1.5 against UMass. And he's also taking Villanova -3.5 against the Blue Hens. And then NNP, I was 2-1 last week. I'm taking the Bonnies -2.5 against Coach Bulkin's Lemoyne Dolphins. That might be the play of the weekend. I'm sorry, Coach Bulkin.
Forgive you.
I'm also taking Cleveland State. I'm taking a money line. I'm also going to take him -1.5 for a little bit of juice. And then I am taking Duke St. Joe's over 23. Dog of the week. We went back and forth on this. I think there's a handful out there. I think you got to go the Manhattan Jaspers, Coach Dougie Sage, +4. We're going to take him +4 and on the money line against a struggling Stony Brook team. I'm not sure what's going on. I hope they can right the ship. But I like Coach Gallardi. I like Coach Daly. I like Coach Quentin Germain. I like what they're doing. But I don't know. There's something about the Jaspers catching Stony Brook in a weird spot. I think they're still trying to figure themselves out.
Right on.
You got a dog of the week? You got anything else you want to add? Any other games that are kind of tickling your fancy?
I'm going on record. I'll say it. I'm going to sprinkle on Hampton. I want to be on the right side of history. I'm going to give them the next 2 weeks. I think they showed a little spark against BMI. They might have put somebody on notice. So let's give Hampton a chance here. Let's go.
Pirates, man, last day of February, they got a chance to make history. I think they got back-to-back weekends where they could get it done. So I know that line actually opened, I believe, at 6.5. They're now 5-goal favorites. So you're not the only one, I think, feeling a little Pirate magic. So really cool.
It's not the money line is not the biggest plot on the board, which is not usual for Hampton. So Vegas saw something.
They're scoring goals, man. They're scoring goals. Yeah. The Pirates got it cooking on the offensive end, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. So that's your gambling corner. Trying to wrap this thing up here. One quick segment I want to do. We're calling it Next Man Up. I've been shouting out high school teams throughout the weekend. I've been shouting out high school teams at the end of segments. In this Next Man Up, I got a bone to pick with IL splitting up the public and private top 25 rankings. I get it, but the Tournament of Champions in New Jersey, the way that they handle their state championships, is arguably my favorite lacrosse event. Period. Like Memorial Day weekend's dope, but I might pick the TOC over all of it. I'm not even from New Jersey. I just think it's so neat to see a Class C team try to go up against a Class A team. And if you're good, you're good, And splitting up public and private top 25 rankings, again, I understand it. I get it. But I don't think it has to be that way. I think there's some public school teams that could absolutely pump some of those private school teams on that top 25 list. So why not put everybody together? Coach Bulkin, nothing to add. I love it. Nope. That's my soapbox. All right.
Like it.
Well, unless you got anything else, man, I think wrapping things up. It's Champ Series weekend in the PLL. Watch it if you want. It's a fun brand of ball. I guess. What's your take on the Sixes brand? You gonna be tuning into Champ Series or watch it in the background if it's on?
It's a background thing, like it's tough look for them that there's so much Cubs cross on Friday. But, again, it's cool to have, it's obviously really talented guys. I think it just gets a little repetitive for me.
Totally. I think it's a fun brand of ball. It's not my favorite. It's my third favorite form of lacrosse. But shout out Max Krevsky and his Instagram, What Krevsky Eats. He's a friend of the show. Also, NNP is going to have to shout out all the netminders suiting up as this version of lacrosse is more hazing than what those Iowa kids got caught doing, I think. But especially NNP's got to salute Brian Phipps for coming out of retirement to take such a beating. Like,
that guy is a madman.
Insanity. Love of the game. He's Ferda, that's for sure. But I don't know. I think that's a wrap. Really looking forward to this slate this weekend. I think it's going to be awesome. Coach Bolkin, I appreciate you jumping on, and I'll tell you this for sure. Those PLL guys, those PLL goalies in the Champ Series, they know what rule number 1 is. And I know you do too, Coach Bolkin. What is it?
Nothing near post.
Oh, yeah. And happy birthday, Coach Pressler.
Thank you.